Alrighty, assignment 2. So, based on the pilot's low total flight time of around 100 hours, I would say the likelihood of a loss of control in flight incident should be classified as occasional or even probable, just based on the FAA's likelihood scale. A pilot in this range is still building core skills, decision-making ability, and just overall aircraft control competency, especially under stress or in routine scenarios. Some risks that contributes to this is just limited overall flight time, which correlates to reduced experience in emergency situations, and then minimal exposure to diverse flight environments such as night flying, and then flying in IMC conditions or just busy airspace. And then given that a loss of control in flight often results from improper recovery from stalls, unusual attitudes, or spatial disorientation, pilots in their early flying careers are statistically more susceptible to these scenarios. And then when combining, if a loss of control were to occur, the severity would almost certainly be catastrophic. This remains consistent with the loss of control events, especially for less experienced pilots who may not be able to recognize or respond to the event in time. In this case, factors that can increase severity includes slower response times, less familiarity with aircraft limitations, and then reduced likelihood of executing the proper recoveries such as stall recovery or upset maneuvers. Even in a basic training aircraft like a Piper Archer, loss of control can result in fatal crashes or complete hull loss, particularly at lower altitudes or near terrain. Therefore, the severity remains at the highest classification regardless of that experience level. Alrighty, and then when combining occasional stress, probable likelihood with catastrophic severity, this pilot's risk falls in the high to serious range on the FAA risk matrix. This level of risk is typically not considered acceptable without mitigation by many insurance providers, including Global Airspace. Therefore, if I was Global Airspace, I would recommend either deferring or limiting coverage, possibly restricting certain types of operations such as night flying or instrument conditions. I would also require proof of ongoing training or safety plan before issuing any policy, and then I would apply higher premiums or deductibles to the elevated exposure. Now, this risk does not align well with the traditional insurance model of low frequency, high severity events. However, with strong safety commitments and risk management, conditional policy may be offered by Global Aerospace. Alrighty. And then if the pilot intends to proceed with purchasing insurance, some risk reduction techniques I would recommend is a structured flight review or advanced training program, such as enrolling in a structured post certification program such as an FAA Wings course or a commercial prep curriculum such as UND itself. It can significantly accelerate skill development and decision-making ability. These programs provide controlled exposure to more complex scenarios, and then overall the pilot will get much needed experience overall. For the second technique, it's just enrolling into upset prevention and recovery training, also known as UPRT. Even for newer pilots, UPRT offers valuable experience in stall recognition, spin recovery, and then spatial awareness. It also builds the foundational habits that reduce the chance of entering a loss of control in flight scenario in the first place. These mitigation strategies can help shift the risk profile from high to medium over time, making the pilot more insurable and safer in the cockpit overall. Alrighty, and then for fraud alert, some two common types that may occur during the form process is just falsifying total flight hours. A low time pilot may claim they have 300 plus hours instead of the actual 100 to 150, which hoping to appear more experienced. This will directly impact underwriting decisions and premium calculations. Another fraud thing is claiming completion of an advanced training not yet taken. The pilot might indicate they have completed UPRT or like an instrument training course or like recurrent simulator sessions when they have not. This can lead to the insurer underestimating the actual risk. And then such like fraudulent acts can result in like policy cancellation, denial of claims, and then just potential legal action if discovered during a claim review. Now, in conclusion, the pilot's limited flight experience places them in a high-risk category for loss of control in flight, especially when combined with the severe consequences such as such an event could cause. While this risk is generally not ideal for the insurance transfer, it may be manageable with additional training and restricted policy conditions. By completing a course like UPRT and a structured flight review program, the pilot can reduce their exposure and demonstrate like a commitment to safety, which is key in the global aerospace like risk evaluation when looking at issuing insurance to a person.